All right, let's dive right in, shall we? Today we're taking a look at the Raven Queen.
Ooh, excellent choice.
You know, death, fate, winter, all that good stuff.
Lots to unpack there.
And I love that we can kind of compare and contrast her story through the different editions.
Right.
It's like a puzzle with all these different pieces, and we're going to try to put it all together today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know that the Raven Queen is kind of the new deity in the D&D world, right?
Yeah, she is. She kind of emerges fully formed in 4th edition.
Oh, God.
But we can actually trace her roots back to earlier editions and other deities.
So she's like this sort of mythological remix, taking inspiration from all these powerful female figures associated with death and magic.
Exactly. Yeah, think of figures like Ouija's.
Oh, yeah, from Greyhawk.
Yes. And both Ouija's and the Raven Queen, they share this really interesting focus on death as a natural order.
Right.
It's not about being evil. It's about respecting the dead and ensuring a smooth transition to the afterlife.
That's a really different take on death, especially in like a fantasy setting where you often see those kind of stereotypical evil death gods.
Right, yeah. But what really sets the 4th edition Raven Queen apart is her absolute hatred of undeath.
Oh, interesting. So she's not just like, a guardian of death,
Yeah.
but like a fierce protector of its sanctity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a perversion of the natural cycle to her. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
So we're not talking necromancy here. We're talking respecting the cycle of life and death.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it. So let's talk about her origin story, because we have two really compelling but different narratives.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Yeah.
So in 4th edition, we have this amazing story of a mortal sorceress queen.
Yeah.
Who gets struck down by Nerul's plagues.
Oh, poor lady.
But these aren't just like, a regular disease, right?
Yes.
They were like a manifestation of his power.
Right, exactly. Like this is Nerul, the god of death we're talking about, right?
Right.
So when this queen, who's like this powerful figure in her own right,
Yeah.
she falls victim to this.
He takes notice.
He's intrigued.
Okay.
And what does he do?
Oh.
He resurrects her.
Of course he does. It's Nerul.
Like, talk about a creepy obsession.
Right.
Like, hello. So he brings her back.
Gives her a makeover, new name.
New name, Nira,
Yeah.
makes her his queen, but
there's always a but.
Nira, although she appears submissive, she never forgives Nerul for what he did.
So she's playing the long game here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a power struggle brewing.
Absolutely. So Nira bides her time, learns the secrets of Nerul's power, and where does his power come from?
Oh, good question.
The souls that he's imprisoned, all those souls.
Right.
And then in this amazing act of defiance, she rebels.
Ooh, I love it.
She frees all the souls,
Okay.
uses their energy to usurp Nerul.
Takes his power.
She takes his power, and she ascends as the Raven Queen.
Wow. That is a power move.
It is. Like, talk about ambition.
Yeah, it's amazing. Betrayal, triumph over death, it's got it all. But then in 5th edition, we get a completely different origin story.
Yeah.
One rooted in elven lore, and it's much more tragic.
Yeah, much more tragic. So this time she's an elven queen.
Okay.
Who's watching the elven pantheon kind of fall apart.
Oh, no.
Right. This conflict is so bad, it's threatening to destroy their whole society.
Yikes.
So she wants to fix this, right? So she attempts this grand ritual to try to unify the elven gods. But you guessed it.
Oh, betrayal.
Those power-hungry wizards in her own ranks, they betray her. They try to steal the power of the ritual for themselves.
Classic wizards.
So the ritual goes haywire.
Oh.
It pulls the queen and all her followers into the Shadowfell.
The shadow.
The plane of shadows and death.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, it's not good.
So she transforms into the Raven Queen.
Yeah, her physical form is destroyed. Her memories get all fragmented.
Oh, wow.
And she becomes this entity that we know as the Raven Queen.
Right.
And the Shadowfell, her followers, they get changed too.
Oh, a Shadowfell.
They're bound to serve her in this shadowy realm.
That's a big shift from the 4th edition origin, right?
Right.
I mean, in one, she's this cunning strategist. She seizes power. And the other, she's a victim of circumstance shaped by loss and betrayal.
Exactly. It's like two sides of the same coin.
Right. It really makes you think about, her motivations.
Yeah.
What are her goals?
What is she trying to do?
Is she clinging to that ambition?
Yeah. Is she still power hungry?
Or is she, kind of shaped by this tragedy?
Yeah. It's a really interesting question.
Yeah, it is.
And it's something we'll explore more as we go deeper into her story.
I'm excited.
Me too. So, it's fascinating how those two different origin stories really shape how we see the Raven Queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
In 4th edition, her ambition is like front and center.
Right.
After all, she pulled off this cosmic power move
Right, yeah.
by taking down Nerul.
It's a big deal.
But the other gods, they had seen what Nerul did with all that tyranny.
Yeah, they learned their lesson.
They weren't going to let another god just hoard all that power over death.
So they put her in check.
They did. They recognized her power.
Okay.
They even granted her godhood.
Okay.
But they restricted her portfolio to the domain of death itself.
Death itself.
Like, imagine that.
Wow.
You're the goddess of death, but you don't have control over the dead.
That's got to be frustrating.
Talk about a frustrating promotion.
Right. Like, you get the title,
Yeah.
but not the perks.
No control. So this really fueled her narrative in 4th edition. She's exiled to the Shadowfell and
Right.
she's just fuming at these limitations.
But she doesn't just sit around, right?
No, she's not one to just sit around.
This is where we see that cunning and ambition.
Exactly. Remember all those strategic alliances she forms?
Oh, yeah. She's always working, always scheming.
Always with an eye toward expanding her influence.
Right. Like when she helped Corellon
Yes, the elven god.
during the war with Lolth.
Oh, that was brilliant.
That was a good one.
Aiding Corellon, she was able to claim Lolth's former domain of fate.
So she saw an opportunity and she took it.
Exactly, furthering her own agenda, but also playing a key role in elven mythology.
I love it. It's like, she's playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Exactly. And don't forget about how she got the domain of winter.
Oh, right. With Oral.
Yes. When Oral tried to plunge the world into eternal winter, the Raven Queen stepped in.
Oh, I remember that story. She kind of used that situation to her advantage.
Yeah, she saw a chance to leverage her power.
Right.
And negotiated for Oral's domain in exchange for her help.
Classic Raven Queen move.
Classic. She's a master strategist.
She is.
Always playing the long game.
But, ambition like that, it's going to create some rivals.
Absolutely. Especially among those who, dabble in the powers that she hates.
Like necromancy and undeath.
Exactly. So you have this cosmic clash of ideologies, right?
Right.
The Raven Queen, champion of natural death. Versus those who want to manipulate souls and twist the cycle of life and death.
Yeah, it's a battle for the very essence of death.
Exactly. Like Orcus, the demon prince of undeath.
Oh, yeah, he's a bad guy.
He sees her as a direct threat.
Of course.
Their conflict it's a battle for dominance over death itself.
Okay, so we've got a pretty clear picture of the 4th edition Raven Queen.
Right. Yeah. Ambitious. Powerful.
Yeah. But then when we move to 5th edition, we see this really interesting shift in her character.
Yeah.
The 5th edition Raven Queen, she's shrouded in mystery.
So much mystery.
Right. Her motives are less clear.
Yeah.
And the focus kind of shifts from that outward ambition to a more, introspective exploration of loss and memory.
Right. And her Elden origin story, it really emphasizes this change.
Okay.
It wasn't about seizing power. It was about preserving unity within the Elven pantheon.
But even with those, noble intentions, she still ends up in the Shadowfell, transformed into this enigmatic entity.
Yeah, and the source material, like Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, it's so vague about what happens to her in the Shadowfell.
Like they want us to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there are hints that she becomes fixated on the past.
Okay.
On collecting and observing memories.
Especially those tied to strong emotions.
Especially those, it's as if the trauma of her transformation, the loss of her physical form, her former life, it's shifted her focus inward.
So it's a far cry from that ambitious, power-hungry goddess we saw in 4th edition.
It is.
It's almost like she's, trying to piece together her own fragmented memories to understand who she is now.
It makes you wonder, what are her goals in this new form?
Yeah, is she content with just being the guardian of death?
Yeah.
Or does she want something more?
Does she yearn for something more?
Is she trying to break free of those limitations?
Maybe she wants to unravel the mysteries of death itself.
Ooh, that's a good one.
The 5th edition lore, it leaves so much open to interpretation.
Yeah, and I think that makes her even more compelling.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like she's not just a goddess of death, she's this complex figure.
Yeah.
Wrestling with her past and these mysteries of her shadowy domain.
It really does.
Speaking of her domain.
Yes.
We can't talk about the Raven Queen without talking about the Shadowfell.
Oh, absolutely not.
This realm is just as fascinating and unsettling as the goddess who rules it.
Absolutely. That's where we'll pick up next time.
Ooh, can't wait.
We'll explore this realm of shadows and echoes.
Okay.
And we'll delve into the lives of those who dwell there, those who serve the Raven Queen.
Both willingly.
And maybe not so willingly.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, so last time we were talking about the Raven Queen and how she evolved through the different editions.
Right.
From ambitious mortal to like this enigmatic deity we see in 5th edition.
Yeah.
So now let's journey into her realm, right?
Oh, yes. Let's go.
The Shadowfell.
Ooh, spooky.
It really embodies her mystique, right? It's like a world where even the sunlight can't warm you.
Yeah. It's this realm of perpetual twilight.
Okay.
It's like a reflection of the material plane, but like all the color and vibrancy just drained out of it.
Oh, wow. So like a faded photograph almost.
Yes, exactly. And there's this feeling of sorrow and regret just hanging in the air.
Okay, so it definitely fits the themes we associate with the Raven Queen.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just about spooky aesthetics, right?
Right.
It's a place of immense power.
Okay.
And the Raven Queen, as its ruler, she has this unique influence within its borders.
Okay, so to understand that influence, we need to look at those who serve her.
Exactly. Those who inhabit the shadowy realm.
Right.
So first we have the Shadowfell.
Oh, the Shadowfell, yeah.
These elves whose fate is like completely intertwined with the Raven Queen.
Yeah, they're not your typical like happy-go-lucky woodland elves, are they?
No.
There's like this sadness to them.
Yeah, a weight of sorrow.
Yeah, that really sets them apart.
And their story it's really tragic.
Okay, so in 4th edition, they were depicted as devoted followers, right?
Yeah.
But in 5th edition, things get a little more complicated.
A little more complicated. So remember that ritual?
The one that transformed the Raven Queen?
Yes. The one where she was betrayed
Yeah.
by those pesky wizards.
Right.
Well, that same ritual,
Yeah.
it seems to have bound the Shadowfell to her service.
So it's not really a choice then?
It's less of a choice
Yeah.
and more of a consequence of their shared fate.
So like a magical compulsion or something?
Yeah, it's unclear whether it's like a curse,
Right.
or just a side effect of being pulled into the Shadowfell.
Yeah, okay, so this ambiguous servitude, I mean, it makes them really interesting characters, right?
It does. They understand death, they've seen it firsthand.
Right.
And they have this melancholy about them that reflects their shadowy existence.
It makes you wonder if they resent the Raven Queen at all.
Yeah, like do they long for a freedom that they can't even remember?
Right. That's a really interesting question.
It is, and that tension, that potential for conflict, makes them so compelling to play in a D&D campaign.
As allies or enemies?
As allies or enemies, yeah. You could do so much with that.
So what kind of roles do they play in the Raven Queen's plans then?
Well, think of them as her agents, right?
Okay.
They carry out her will.
In both the Shadowfell and the material plane.
Exactly. They might be sent to retrieve lost memories.
Oh, right. Because the Raven Queen, she collects memories.
She does, especially those tied to strong emotions.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Or maybe they're sent to punish those who, try to cheat death.
Okay.
Those who dabble in necromancy.
Which she hates.
Yeah, those who disrespect the natural order.
Right.
So they're like her shadowy secret service.
Ooh, I like that.
Operating in the background, making sure her influence is felt.
That's really cool.
And this connection to the Raven Queen, it makes them perfect for a D&D campaign.
Right. Yeah, you could have so many interesting encounters.
Absolutely. Like imagine the party encounters a group of Shadowfell who are looking for a lost artifact.
Okay.
And this artifact contains a powerful memory.
That look good.
Or maybe they're hunting down a necromancer who's, gotten on the Raven Queen's bad side.
Oh, that's awesome.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, it's really cool. But it also makes you think about the Raven Queen's motives.
Yeah.
We keep talking about her plans and her influence, but what is she really after?
That's the $1 million question. And the 5th edition source material, it's so vague.
Right.
It's like they're teasing us.
Right.
Some people believe she's trying to get back those memories.
The one she lost.
Yeah, to like piece together her identity.
Okay.
Others think she's trying to figure out the mysteries of death itself.
Ooh, that's interesting.
To understand its true nature.
Okay.
Maybe even transcend it. Right. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's almost like she's become this scholar of death.
Yeah.
Obsessed with knowledge.
But the knowledge she seeks, it might be too much.
Okay.
You know, she might lose herself in the process.
So there's like a tragic element to it then.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, that's really interesting.
And it raises the stakes for anyone who, you know, gets involved with her.
Okay.
If she's willing to go to any lengths to achieve her goals, then those who get in her way, well, let's just say they might become part of her collection.
Oh, okay, that took a dark turn.
Little dark.
But speaking of, you know, beings associated with the Raven Queen,
yes,
we have to talk about the Sorrowsworn.
Oh, the Sorrowsworn, yeah.
They're like these embodiments of grief and doom.
Yeah.
But they also go through some changes between editions, right?
They do.
So in 4th edition, they were like these powerful, kind of demonic-looking creatures.
Yeah, very imposing.
Right. And they enforced the Raven Queen's will.
Yeah, and they punished those who, you know, cheated death.
Right.
But 5th edition takes a different approach.
Okay.
They become less about punishment and more about embodying those raw emotions.
Of the Shadowfell.
Yes.
Yeah.
The grief, the despair, the loss.
So they're less like, you know, enforcers and more like manifestations of the Shadowfell itself.
Exactly. And their connection to the Raven Queen becomes more ambiguous.
Yeah.
Are they extensions of her will?
Or are they like independent agents drawn to these dark emotions?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It is. And it allows for a lot of creative freedom in a campaign.
Right. They become like these wild cards.
Yes.
Unpredictable.
You never know what they're going to do.
Right. It really adds to the mystery and the danger of the Shadowfell.
Absolutely. And it brings us back to the heart of our deep dive.
Yeah.
The evolving mythology of the Raven Queen.
Right. She's not an easy character to pin down.
No, she's not.
Her origins, her motivations.
Even her physical form.
Yeah, it's all shrouded in mystery.
It's an invitation to interpret.
And that's what makes her so compelling.
Exactly. She's not just another god.
Oh.
She's a character with depth, with contradictions, with a story that keeps evolving.
With every edition.
With every campaign.
With every encounter.
Exactly.
And for those who like to explore the darker side of D&D, a Raven Queen offers so much. She does. She's a source of power. She's a symbol of fate. She's a guardian of death.
And maybe even a tragic figure trying to reclaim what she lost.
It's all there.
Yeah, it seems like her story is far from over.
Oh, definitely.
Who knows what secrets she's hiding.
Or what plans she's making in the Shadowfell.
Yeah, that's the beauty of mythology, right?
It is.
It's always evolving, always changing.
Always new possibilities.
So as you continue your adventures in the D&D multiverse, remember this.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you hear a raven's call,
ooh, spooky,
echoing through the shadows, it just might be the Raven Queen calling.
Oh, I got chills.
And whether you answer that call, well, that's up to you.
Oh, good advice.
Until next time, keep those dice rolling, those imaginations firing.
And may your adventures be filled with wonder and mystery.
And just a touch of shadow